Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go through seed packets that we got this year, seed packets that we have from last year, and we're going to sort them in the order of when I will be starting them. So I'm going to go through all the packets, read. It should usually say on the packet itself. This should be, let me find ones that have to be started before, so that you can see what I mean. I didn't get that many this year. Let's see, like this one. So it says start indoors 8 to 12 weeks before the last frost. So I'm gonna go through all the packets, see what it says. We're gonna separate them, and I'm gonna take note in my planner so that as we are starting to start seeds indoors, I will have it sorted by when they should be started, as well as a cross reference in my planner to make sure that I'm planting the right things at the right time. Not planting, starting them the right seed, starting them at the right time, the same group of seeds. So first thing we're gonna do is read through all the packets and sort them. So let's get started with that. Okay, so like we said over here, the eggplant is 8 to 12 weeks. Now, a lot of the new seeds that we got are stuff that won't need to be started early. So like this one is chives. Does not have to be started before. Lettuce also doesn't need to be started before. Zucchini as well. This is 8 to 10 weeks. So we're going to sort them. We're going to make it in a different pile. This is Snapdragon. Tomatoes is 6 weeks before. Poppies don't need to be started before. Carrots don't need to be started before. Yeah, I have 2 of them. Lettuce, cilantro, oregano, parsley, basil, cosmos. Let's see, these are pole beans, red kidney beans. This is 6 to 8 weeks before. Dill and lettuce. Okay, see, from all the packets that we got, it's only 4 of them that need to be started in advance. So let's set this aside. And we're gonna sort through those later. But let's see. I think these are the seeds that we said we're not gonna start this year. Let me just look through it and make sure. Yes. So these are ones that we're not gonna start this year, so I'm just gonna set that aside as well. And we're gonna look through all the seeds that we got over here. So this is 4 to 6 weeks. So as I'm looking over this footage right now, I realized that I didn't show you any of the specific seeds that I got. So depending on how long this video gets, if it doesn't get too long, I did get a paper magazine from the company that I ordered all these seeds from, and I can go through it and show you what I had ordered. But again, that'll depend on how long this video actually ends up being. Seems like this year we have a lot more that will be started just direct sown. Now, as I'm sitting here editing this video, it is probably like 3 weeks after I recorded this. I recorded this for you as soon as it arrived, and I've had other videos planned for you guys in between. So now that this video is coming up, and it's closer to when I'm actually going to be starting the seeds, I am getting really excited for the 2026 garden. I am so looking forward to all the new things that we're going to try. Um, Hopefully, the bounty that will be coming out of this garden. And I'm just looking forward to having a garden, my garden beds ready and waiting for me. The last few years that I've gardened, I set up the garden as the season was coming upon us. So I would have to wait for soil to be put into the beds or to finish fencing or whatever it was. And this is going to be the first year that the garden will just be there and waiting for me to plant. And I'll be able to plant things, direct sow them when they are called for, like starting before the last frost when I can already plant cold hardy things like radishes and lettuce, and I don't remember offhand off the top of my head what else there is, but I have it all planned out as you'll see soon. And my starts will hopefully be started on time and will be able to be transplanted outdoors in the right amount of time. I'm hoping that we're going to have a bounty of just delicious vegetables that will bombard us, and we'll be able to enjoy fresh and be able to preserve, and a bunch of flowers to just bring beauty into the garden and to be able to harvest those as well and bring it into the house and beautify the inside of the house as well. And I'm just looking forward to an exciting year of gardening. Cauliflower, which I thought a is something that I would have to start early indoors. It says here just to sow it outdoors. It doesn't say anything about starting it earlier. I would look that up. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my phone and I am going to Google when our estimated last frost date will be. The estimated average last frost date for my area for 2026 is approximately May 14. The actual date can vary each year depending on local weather patterns, so this is a general guideline rather than a precise forecast. So I'm gonna look May 14. I know that in my area, the garden centers, they usually say to start it, to plant stuff after Mother's Day, which Mother's Day comes out this year on May 10. So May 14 makes sense. May 14 is on a Thursday. So I think I'm gonna schedule my plant out date as May 17, and we're gonna work backwards from there. So I'm doing it a week after Mother's Day, a few days after the average last frost date, estimated average last frost date. And what I'm gonna do to have a little bit of leeway is for the packs that say, let's say 8 to 10 weeks before planting out, I would do it 10 weeks before. So I have that week from Mother's Day where it could be ready, because that would be like 9 weeks before. And if I need to plant it later, it's okay too. Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to do. So first thing we are going to do is I'm going to take my little planner here and I'm going to write that my estimated plant out date will be May 17th. And the reason why I like to do it on Sundays is because Sundays are usually my lightest on schedule day. But if I need to, I can come out during the week and do it. During the week, I usually have other stuff going on, and I can't always make sure that I have it on us, that I'm available during the week to do it. And I know that especially with like starting the seeds, I like to do it as a family sometimes, and it's easier to do it as a family on a Sunday for the starting the seeds. So now we are going to count backwards. So from May 17, Our furthest back will be the 12 weeks. So February 22 is 12 weeks before. So all of these things, which is going to be a red habanero pepper, California Wonder Pepper, which is going to be a red one, a California Wonder Pepper yellow, celery, the Black Beauty eggplant, and the organic diamond eggplant. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be started 12 weeks before. Let me just make sure again that it's 8 to 12 or 10 to 12 or whatever it is. Yes. So I'm going to write down in my book that we're going to do Black Beauty eggplant. Oh, I forgot to look up the onions because I know that the onions I'm going to want to start earlier. Let me pull up my planner from last year. So I see here that February 17, I had started celery, eggplant, and some peppers. So we would be starting this year like a rough, almost a week later. We start on the 17th. When did we start the onions? How many weeks before that? January 29. Almost 3 weeks before. Okay, so we're going to do 15 weeks before. So we're going to start this over. Let's see. I'm going to tear out this page. So if we're doing it 15 weeks before, so let's go back to February. 22 is 12, is 13, 14, 15. So February 1st, we will do the 3 onions. Next will be February 22, and this will be 12 weeks out. The reason why I also like to plan it the furthest out, like 12 weeks, like what it says on the packet, is because if I don't get to do it on this day, it still gives me that wiggle room. Like if I start it in the middle of that week or the following Sunday, I still have the 10 to 12 weeks left till the actual plant out date. It won't be the full 12, it'll be 11 instead of the 12, but we're still in a good window of time. The last thing we're going to do, the last step for each of these weeks will be that I'm going to write over here on a sticky note, February 1st. I'm going to put that, I should have written it upside down. Let's see. You'll see the sticky part is going to be on the bottom. And we're going to write February 1st. I'm going to take our onion packets. I'm going to stick the sticky note on there. Can you see? And I'm going to use, oh, there's some stuff in here still. What is these? I missed those earlier. I'm going to put them in the box here. And let me see, bring it up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So when it comes to starting the seeds, I can just take everything. You'll see when I put in the next one how it's going to create sort of like tabs or little sections for each one. So I'll just grab one set at a time to start them. Now before we move on, and I forget again, we're going to check the cauliflower. Google is telling me to start cauliflower 4 to 7 weeks. So I'll put it with the 4 to 6 weeks. And we'll start it with those indoors. I don't know why it doesn't say on the packet. Could be this specific variety does better like that, but so far I haven't been successful any year with it. Did I even start it last year? I can't remember. So we'll see how it goes. Did I even plan to do cauliflower? Let's see. Did I plan to do cauliflower? Yes, I do have 2 cauliflower over here. Okay, so like I said, the next batch will be February 22nd, and you'll see what I mean with creating tabs. So we have our next set of seed packets. We're going to put this on the packs. And when it's standing up in the box, I can see I can just separate between one sticker and the other and pull out, so you can't even see. I can separate from one sticky note to the other and pull out all the seeds, start these, and put it back in. And I can keep it organized like this for next year and adjust the dates accordingly for that year. And we'll see if this system works for me, because I have to figure out a system of sorting seeds and keeping them organized. And we'll see if this system works for me. So now we're up to February 22nd. And we're going to do the dates of 8 to 10. So that would get us to March 8th. So we are going to write down March 8th, and this will be 10 weeks. Just like before, putting our sticky note and putting it into our box. And I'm thinking about it now, having the double system of having it written down here and in here, is that if something gets messed up, because now as I was putting in my seeds for March 8th or 10 weeks out, one of the ones from the 12 weeks out was trying to stay on the bottom. So if there's ever a mess up, I can always go back and see. I can reference my list in here and make sure that I'm getting the right seeds. Okay, next set will be 6 to 8 weeks out. So that will be March 22nd. So a little bit of a mess up here. Not big, but okay. So the cabbage, it does say when to sow outside, and I read that one first. But it does say when to start inside. Recommended is 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm going to add that to the March 22nd. And I'm going to add the cabbage. And now to 6 weeks out, April 5th, I'm going to add all of these because these are 4 to 6. So I'd rather start at 6 weeks out. Next, we have all the seeds that should be started outdoors or direct sown. So with these, we're going to have to do a different system. I'm going to write over here, start indoors. And over here, the next page, we're going to write direct sow. So with these, it doesn't say when to plant them on any of these. Let me read them carefully. Okay. So this one says direct sow as soon as soil can be worked. This one says direct sow after last frost date. After last frost date. After danger of frost has passed. These are the 3 categories I will be working with for the seeds that need to be direct sown or planted outside and don't need to be started indoors, then transplanted. 2 to 4 weeks before your average last frost. I forgot I actually have a few more categories. Those that can be direct sown while there might still be some frost, and they'll be okay because they are cold hardy plants and can tolerate the potential frost. And another category for my plant out day or transplant day, and it'll be direct sown on that same day. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna check as soon as soil can be worked, how roughly how much before the last frost date it would be. So for this is somewhere between late March and early May is as soon as soil can be worked. So it's giving me dates based on the assumed last frost of around May 12th. It's telling me to start late March, which is March 31st, but it's saying 6 weeks out. So if I'm going with the timeline that I'm working with, we'll go April 5th. And I'm going to write down a few keynotes to remember to check before I start direct sowing these. So I'm going to write down, it was April 5th. So you want the temperatures outside to be daytime highs of 45 to 50 and nights above freezing. And it does say, well, one of the other suggestions is soil temperature. I don't have a way of testing soil temperature. If I do invest in a thermometer like that, I would then check up the right temperatures to do this, to work with this. So now we can write down all of these. And like something like lettuce, we can stagger, I will stagger the start date. I might just start a few of the, like a variety, and then keep those seed packets out to start them staggered so that I constantly have a harvest of them. So I think I will put those separately. The radishes, I will do the same thing. Start a little bit of each variety and then keep them out and stagger them. We have zucchini, which I might also plant a few times. So I'm gonna make one section in my box as direct sow with a date. And then I'm gonna make a separate section of these that can be planted throughout the season, but starting from April 5th. So these say after danger of frost. So we're gonna check what that would mean. I think for this, our estimated plant out date of May 17 is pretty good for that. Did I plan where to put the kidney beans? The drying beans? I don't think I did that. So for these, it says, let me see. The kidney beans are 95 days to maturity. Cannellini beans is 90 days. For our beans, cannellini beans and kidney beans, those I like to plant in the spaces that I have the garlic and or the onions. And for these, I'm going to write down the very last day that should be planted. But as soon as those things come out, this can be planted. But if I see that those take a little bit longer and they won't be ready, I can start these earlier and leave these in when I pull out the other plants. Like when I can plant it in between the onions and garlic and pull out the garlic or the onions when they're ready, and these will stay in there. This is what I did this past year, and I still got a pretty decent harvest. I'm actually going to write on the side over here the drying beans so that I remember that any time from this point forward, and the latest date being last week of June, beginning of July. So for these, it says after last frost. So from my understanding, after last frost is actually earlier than the danger of the last frost. So I think May 17th would actually be these seeds, and a week or two later should be the after danger of frost. So a little bit of a change here. Okay, so I've got this figured out now. So May 17th, we are going to plant out these packets. So we're swapping these out. We're doing May 24th. Now, doing this is a little bit extra. I know that most people that garden do not do this. Just for me and my brain, I know that sitting down once, figuring out when things need to go, makes the actual working with it a lot easier. Because like I said, I'm sitting down now. I'm sitting here now for 77 minutes, so like an hour and 15. So far, I'm almost done. And now I know that going forward, I just need to pull out whatever I need and it'll be ready for me to plant. And there will be no thought involved later on. So these, I want to do 2 weeks out. So after May 24th will be May 31st. And this will be 3 to 4 weeks out, 7 to 14. The last thing will be the drying beans. And I'm writing over here the last day to plant. It's all nice and organized now, ready to grab and go whenever I need to use this. And I have my cheat sheet right here with everything. And I think the next few pages will be used as sort of like a diary. Whenever I actually start things and what I do and when I do and how I do, I can take notes, and we'll see how this system works for me versus the system that we used last year, which I thought that it would work for me because I've done these type of calendars for different things in the past and it has worked wonderful for me. But for this, for the seed starting and for planting and all that, this didn't work for me. So I guess we'll try it out for the 2026 garden year and we'll see how it works.
So the first seed here that I'm showing you is a pepper, Corno di Toro Rosso. These are I'm gonna plant them as a snacking pepper right when we come into the garden. So these are gonna be 8-inch long tapered red peppers. They live up to their name, which means horn of the bull in Italian. Sweet and satisfying, the popular Corno di Toro tastes great, served fresh, fried, roasted, or grilled. So this will be our snacking pepper, and I did realize that I forgot to order peppers that will be turned into paprika, which I designated a lot of space for in the garden. So I'm gonna have to place another order. Okay, the next thing we have here is a Campbell 33 tomato. And I was looking for indeterminate tomatoes because I don't want them going too tall. I'm looking to rethink how I do my tomatoes. This shouldn't get too tall. I thought it says how tall it gets, but it doesn't. But the reason why I got this was because this is an early maturing variety. It is disease resistant, reliable performer that grows well in adverse weather conditions, which am I in adverse weather conditions? I don't think so. But the bright red 7 to 10 ounce fruits ripen all at once, great for fresh eating and canning, sweet flavor with a touch of acidity. So the canning is what I want to do with it. And I think the flavor of sweet and acidity is going to be perfect to be able to use them for canning. And I figured the 7 to 10 ounces is a very good size for that. The next thing I ordered was this marigold, which I am going to plant with in between the tomatoes. Am I doing in between peppers also? Let me check. So between the tomatoes, I am doing squashes. Butternut squash and spaghetti squash. That is by the tomato trellis where we're going to have the beefsteak tomatoes. Marigolds are going to go between peppers. Maybe I'll throw it in other places too. But these are a short variety, dwarf variety. They're only going to get 6 to 12 inches tall, which is perfect because the one that I had planted this past year, it grew with the tomatoes and we didn't really have blooms because they were looking for sunlight. But I feel like if they stay short, they can spread out instead of going up, and we'll hopefully get blooms. And the blooms is what I want them for because it's a deterrent for certain pests and it's a favorite of beneficial pollinators. So it works both ways. It has an orange color, a lemony fragrance. It's nice for borders and containers. It goes from the summer till frost, so we'll have it into fall also. So that's gonna keep some color in the garden. And edible flowers have a subtle, spicy, citrusy flavor. Okay, good to know. Okay, so I decided to actually go back and show you all the vegetables first, and then we'll do flowers. So for carrots, I got the Imperator 58 carrot. And I was going back and forth between a bunch of different varieties. And I took this one. I ended up with this one because they are tender carrots that grow 9 inches long, and I figured 9 inches long is a very decent sized carrot. It's crunchy, crispy, loaded with sweet flavor, delicious, raw, roasted, steamed, and sauteed. So I figured it's a versatile carrot. It can be used for anything. We'll give it a try, and we'll see how it does for us and how we like it. Okay, the next thing I got was some more basil. We grew a lot last year. I ran out of seeds, and I want to grow a lot more again because we enjoyed it fresh. I made a bunch of freezer pesto out of it. I want to make some little pucks, some little cubes out of the basil as well, because I buy them in the store. And recently I've been making a recipe, a delicious chicken salad that my family loves, that the dressing is like a very light pesto, and it calls for the basil cubes. And I was looking at the ingredients and I was like, so many things that I wouldn't want, and it's just basil. All you need to preserve it is basil and oil. So I would love to make basil cubes. So I want to have lots and lots of basil growing. So I got some of that. The next thing is some flat leaf parsley. I grew one year the curled parsley, and I don't know if it was just the way that I planted it, that it didn't really grow much. The flat leaf parsley does a lot better for me. So I went with this. And even though I have parsley in the garden, I'm not sure it's going to come back. I know that last year it came back. The year before, I think it came back too. No, the year before I didn't have these beds. I just want to make sure that I have more seeds. If I decide to plant more, I should have it. Okay, the next thing I got was some oregano. And this is something I never thought I would grow because I don't consume it that much. But I figured just a little bit. The little bit that I use, I want to have my own. So I went through, I picked, I think they had one or two varieties. Like, they didn't have too many varieties. Yeah, I just went with this. Oh, it dries easily. Probably that's why. I don't remember much thought going into the oregano specifically. Next thing we got was some cilantro. And this, even though I don't use it that much, I want to be able to dry it. And I do use cilantro. I don't use it crazy much. And so far I didn't have the greatest harvest. So I'm going to keep on trying and see what we can get. This actually says hardy and easy to grow, so we'll find out how it does for us. Then I got some chives, which we absolutely love. And for some reason, my chives from the year before just didn't survive this year. And I never really grew it from seed successfully. So we're going to try this again. And I think I'm going to plant it in my border area with my annuals, with my perennials. So if you know my garden, I have the 3 rows of beds, and then I made an additional little area where, like a border, where I'm putting perennial flowers that the pollinators like, and I want to do perennial herbs in there. So like my rosemary right now I have in a bed, and hopefully it survives through the winter, and if it survives I'm going to transplant it into that border. I'm going to do the same things with the chives. I want to get it going in the garden soil because I know that that has a lot of nutrients, a lot of good stuff, especially now when I'm adding the good compost to it. See how it gets going, and if it survives through the first winter or the second winter, however long I decide to leave it in the bed. Once it's established, I will dig it all up and transplant it into the border and just have it go from there. Next thing we got is dill, which I absolutely love having in the garden. I love throwing it into salads, onto dishes. I use the fronds, is it called? For pickles, I use the dill for pickles itself, not just the flowers. Um, and I liked over here that they wrote that they planted among the cucumbers and onions to deter pests and attract beneficial insects. So I think I decided that's what I'm going to try. I don't think I even put in where I'm going to put the herbs, but they don't take up a lot of space and they can grow in between other things. So we're going to try that. Okay, now we're moving on to the lettuces. So I bought a bunch of different varieties. I want to be able to, what I try to do is I get a bunch of different varieties, like what I did with peppers last year. And then I'm able to hone in and say, like, okay, my family likes these varieties, and this is what I'm going to grow going forward. And maybe once I have set, like, the 3-4 things that we like, if I feel like I want to try more, I will try 1 or 2 every year to just see if we can add another favorite or if it overtakes one of our favorites. But for now, I ordered a bunch of lettuces, you'll see. So this one is called black-seeded Simpson lettuce. It's a loose leaf lettuce, which means that it doesn't grow a head. It just grows a bunch of leaves, and you can keep on harvesting the leaves from the outside, and it'll keep on growing. It's beloved for its sweet, delicate flavor and attractively frilled light green leaves. Right, oh my goodness, light green leaves. Among the easiest varieties to cultivate and quickest to harvest. So I'm excited to have this as an early contender. The next lettuce I got was this organic red velvet lettuce. I always like having that pop of color in the lettuce because I feel like it adds so much to a salad. This is also frilly. It's deep red leaves with a touch of green. Crispy, crunchy, and delicious. Plants form loose heads and are slow to bolt. So this one I got, because of the color. I love it. The frilliness, it adds such a good texture. But slow to bolt means that hopefully it'll grow into the summer. And it's cut and come again variety. So I can just cut the whole thing off at the base and it'll grow again. So there's so much potential there of this becoming a favorite for those 2 reasons. Slow to bolt, cut and come again. I love those type of varieties. Okay, so this is a type of romaine lettuce, and it's something that my family enjoys. It's just a classic go-to type of lettuce. So I figure this is good in hot climates, which we do get sort of hot in the summer. We're not like south hot, but the temperatures can get up there. And this sweet, crunchy blonde romaine from the Middle East can be enjoyed as baby green or as a tall, mature head. Leaves reach up to 24 inches tall, bolt resistant. So this one also, I figured I would grow like a few seeds every week and I would let them grow. And like that, we know like we get a head a week or 2 heads a week of lettuce. They are bolt resistant, so it's also a good contender for going into the summer and hopefully grow through the summer as well. And now this is our last variety that we're getting for lettuce. This is loose heads, so it does form heads, but it's loose heads, 6 to 8 inch in diameter. But I figured the buttery, tender leaves are excellent in spring and summer salads, which this reminded me of a lettuce variety that I like to get. Like the description, the butteriness, the tender. Each head is a perfect serving size. So I can grow, let's say, 3 or 4 a week, and we can have like individual salads one night for dinner with whatever protein, or have it for lunch, like a whole head of lettuce plus whatever protein we want for lunch. Delicious with diced fresh herbs and lighter vinaigrettes. So that's great because I don't do really vinaigrettes, but instead of vinaigrettes I would do just oil, salt, and pepper, but just with fresh herbs coming out of the garden. Sounds so refreshing and delicious. Okay, we are done with our lettuce and now we moved on to different vegetables. This over here is an eggplant. So I've grown the same eggplant every year, and I've been successful with it. But I wanted to just try another variety because I was thinking that I would love to have like little eggplants, thinner eggplants, to be able to do like individual dishes, like the eggplant plated up, versus the eggplant that I've been growing is just bigger. I've been growing one of these like Black Beauty eggplants, so they're bigger, they're beefier. So I decided to go with this one. They are teardrop shaped eggplants measuring approximately 8 to 9 inches long and 3 inches wide. Firm flesh, exceptional flavor. Perfect for roasting. So I figured, like, I love doing this. I don't know if you've ever seen eggplants cut in half. You score the insides, you roast it. You could drizzle tahina on it and sprinkle like pomegranate seeds and parsley. And I love it's a really pretty dish and it's delicious. So I figured that this would probably be perfect for that. Next up is some radishes, which also last year was not my year for radishes. So I bought a few of the same varieties to try again and see how they do with better soil. So watermelon radish, it's known at this point for its light skin and beautiful color inside. And we're going to see how they taste. It says over here it's sweet, mild flavor, and crunchy, firm texture. Delicious, fresh from the garden, and quick pickled. Which I don't think we've ever pickled a radish. Might be fun to try. The next radish is called Pink Beauty radish, which this looks like just the standard radish that you buy in the store. It actually says here milder than red radishes, which I don't necessarily like that zing that you would get from regular radishes. And usually radishes from the store I don't like, but the ones from my garden I enjoy, no matter what variety it is. So this is going to be fun to grow. It's crisp and sweet. This is a frost hardy heirloom that's short to the light. So I would probably start my first seeds that I start early in the season would probably be this one, and then stagger and grow different ones so that we can constantly have an influx, a harvest of radishes, and have fun with like every week having a different type of radish. Now this one, if it's this bright red in real life, it's so exciting visually. So this one is a perfect choice for radish lovers in warmer climates. So I figured this might be good for us in the summer. It's a reliable favorite. Produces rosy, crunchy, crisp radishes spring through fall. So it should grow in the summer too, which I've made a salad with radishes and cucumbers. Does it have red onion too? I can't remember right now. But the problem was that when I had radishes from the garden, I didn't have the cucumbers from the garden. When I had the cucumbers, I didn't have the radishes. So maybe with this one, there's hope that I'm gonna have radishes and cucumbers at the same time, so that I can make that salad with just homegrown vegetables. The flesh is sweet, tender, and succulent, not pithy or dry. Sounds good. Next I got was some zucchini. So I do have, last year I grew 2 varieties and I used up one of the variety seeds. The other one I'm running very low. So I figured I'll buy another one again, and it's always fun to find new varieties that we like. This one I figured is a perfect size for what I use for chicken soup. So if I wouldn't be able to make chicken soup every time I have a harvest of zucchini, but maybe I would get into the habit for at least the summer to make a chicken soup every week instead of making one big one and freezing it. But also it's more realistic for my family to enjoy a small, tender one versus one of these big, meaty ones. So it says to harvest when the fruit reaches 6 to 8 inches, and it's a bush type heirloom, creamy, firm flesh, served sauteed, steamed, or fried. Next I got was a pole bean. So I was not impressed with our green beans from last year. So I looked up another variety, tender and stringless. Oh, for the stringless, when picked young. And tastes great fresh and frozen. I don't enjoy the texture of canned green beans, but I did freeze a bunch from last year, and I love that. So if it tastes great fresh and frozen, that's a very good contender for us, and we'll see how we like this one. Now, the last category of edible seeds that we got was some drying beans. So did get some light red kidney beans, and they didn't have many varieties to choose between, so I just went with what they had. It's a go-to for soups or chilies, and I was thinking I would use it for chilies. I would maybe, if I have a big enough harvest, I would maybe can them, but I would keep a lot of it dry to be able to use for cholent. Because this past year I didn't have a very big harvest, but I had enough for 1 week's worth of cholent, and that cholent, we tasted a difference in it. With the homegrown beans, it was delicious. And the second variety of bean that I got was a cannellini bean. I figured this I can use in my cholent as instead of a navy bean, which I use nowadays. This is ultra creamy texture and rich nutty flavor. And hopefully I now have enough to be able to use fresh, but also to can up, because I use cannellini beans in my hummus. So it would be so nice to have homegrown cannellini beans to use. So now we're back at flowers, and this one I just fell in love with this such soft petals, the colors on here, it's so beautiful. And these are double and semi-double bicolor blossoms, soft shades of white and pink. 2 to 3 inch blossoms are loved by pollinators and beneficial insects, and they grow well in the summer. I was looking for flowers that I love the color and the shape of, 2 that the pollinators will like and the beneficial insects will like, and I was also trying to find ones that will grow either consistently from spring to fall, or just to have them staggered so that I can have flowers throughout the season. So last year was the first year that I grew Snapdragon, and we just loved it. So this is just a blend of a bunch of different colors, and we're gonna have fun with it. It's prized as a cut flower, and it's gonna be beautiful. They reach 12 to 24 inches tall, so they shouldn't get too tall. And then I fell in love this year also with the poppies. They are just so beautiful and dainty. And I got a few. Did I get more poppies? No, it was just this one. I just love the colors, the combo here. It's cherry, yellow, orange, red, and purple, and white blossoms. And I figured this is so beautiful. I just have to try it. And I see here this is a cool weather annual or short-lived perennial. Is easily grown in just about any environment. So I can plant it. Cool weather means that it's probably not gonna last through the summer. And maybe they're gonna come back the following year. I don't know. So the Cosmos is what I bought a few varieties of. I grew them the first time this last year, and I just absolutely love them. I had like flowers like this. It was supposed to be dwarf red variety, but it was more like this color right here. But this is a mix of different shades of pink. Pink, maroon, I don't know how to pronounce this color, so I'm not going to try even, and white. These are heavy blooming large flowers with eye-popping yellow centers against a background of delicate lacy green foliage. Make this mix one of our most popular flowers year after year, and I can see why. Because it sounds very similar to the variety that I had this past year, but the past year it was all one shade. And I like having the different shades so that I can play around with the bouquets that I bring into the house. And look at this Cosmo, it's just so dreamy. That the ruffled petals like that, I just absolutely love it. So this is all going to be just white flowers, but I absolutely love the look of it. So I just had to get it.
So I hope that you will come along with me for this garden year and see how we go from just these little seed packets and little seeds to full on plants and vegetables and flowers and harvesting and just a full garden. So I hope to see you in the future.